Hi, this is Mark with your analysis for the week commencing the 1st of February. I have in the members area done another video for this week. This is the start of the month, and I've done you some analysis looking at monthly charts and weekly as well. Now, the last few weeks, the Bollinger Bands have been hugely important, and I'm starting to place more and more significance on Bollingers. The previous week, I told you that to watch this Bollinger Band, because here on the Swissy, on the weekly, it had stopped to the pip that previous move. Market opened last week, this Bollinger Band opened, and price moved away. Now, it did touch exactly to the pip on the 55 and stopped, as I predicted during the week. I thought this would be a limited move. But these Bollinger Bands are very, very significant. Now, the dollar Swissy on a daily chart, I'm going to ignore for now. It did break the 200 EMA, and I have said in my analysis the only thing I would consider here would really be a pullback to this weekly trend line, but it's too far away. I'm not really interested in that one. This is the EURUSD. Now, the EURUSD here on a weekly chart, you can see that price is clearly going to be outside the Bollinger Bands tomorrow. This band is likely to come down here, like so. Now, normally what happens when price goes outside the Bollinger Band, price will return back in. We are also in an area with lots of things going on, and this was a very big candle. So, one thing to consider tomorrow is a bounce back up, and if not, to consider a pullback here on the weekly chart, if you trade off the weekly, back into the region of 1.400, which was a huge area of previous support that broke towards the end of last week. Now, if on the other hand you trade off a daily chart and you're looking for a more trade by day, and you're looking for a smaller move, then a 50% pullback would take you up here, 39.24 kind of area. So you need to decide which time frames you work from. Obviously on a weekly you have a bigger stop. If you were looking to short here on a weekly, then you would need your stop to be up above at least the 78.6 and perhaps all the way up here. And although you would trade the same amount of money, you could be looking at 250 pip stop or 150. Risk the same amount, just reduce your stake. The crucial thing here on this EURUSD weekly for me is this 200 EMA down here. Now, if price gets down here to 37.50, then I will be very interested in a bounce back up. Now, a few weeks ago on the EURUSD, I showed you on the daily chart the fact that we had what was known as a flag pattern. And this is the flagpole that comes down here. And what I said to you is that a possible move down here should equal the same distance, i.e. 750 pips. So from that piece of analysis on the daily chart, you would have had a trade there with a very limited small stop the other side of this trend line in the 200 that is currently 500 pips up. One of our members is currently 430 pips up on this move. Now, the theory says that price will continue for 750 pips, which will take this price down to 135. So we'll have to see if the prophecy is fulfilled. Euro-pound. Euro-pound equally with the Bollinger Band is going to be outside tomorrow. I suspect that this is going to close over here, open over here rather. If it does, then again we would expect a pullback. And again, this is a weekly chart, so a weekly pullback would be up to 8,700. And as you know, I do look for multiple reasons why price is likely to reject in an area. So that would be a good area to consider for this one. This is the pound dollar. The pound dollar last week, this was the previous week on the pound dollar. Had you fibbed it, where did price go? Price went exactly to the 50% fib on a weekly chart, which also coincided with the 55 EMA. Had you taken that trade is currently up 286. These are off weekly charts. So you can decide to use this strategy on longer term time frames if you wish. If, on the other hand, you wish to trade on daily and you're in and out with trades, again consider what this Bollinger Band does at market open tomorrow, but you will be looking for a pullback to 1.6078 or even as far back as 160-100, which was a previous area. If you remember last week we were looking, price was bouncing between 60-100 and 63. We've now broken through, we've broken the trend line. What do we need? We need a pullback. And so a pullback would take us back here, and say, if not all the way up to 60-100 for the view to a short. Euro-yen, big move last week, very big move. Finally broke this weekly support area of 127 that had held going back to February of the previous year. So, Again, what do we look for? We look for a pullback, and again, price is likely to be outside the Bollinger Band, and again, you could look on the daily or you could look on the weekly, depending on your preferences. If you're trading on a daily chart, the 50% fib will be at 125.75, so we would do down here 125.75 and a further 61.8 with 126 areas to consider. Right, the gold last week, gold has been bouncing between 61.8% and it then came down and touched and moved away from the 78.6 until it breaks this area. For me, this is still in an uptrend, which would tie in nicely with the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar here on a weekly broke down and cleared the 90 area and came down as far as 88.35. Again, very, very big move here on a weekly. On a weekly chart, you could be looking for a pullback to 89.60 or 89.99. It's too big for me, really. But what is interesting, this is a monthly chart, and the monthly chart, the area that it broke was 89.55 that I was telling you about the other week. So again, pullbacks to these areas would be of great interest. New Zealand dollar. This is the New Zealand dollar on the daily. Look at how the Bollinger Band has opened. There is still plenty of room for this to move. If, however, it closes tomorrow, then that will give you a clue that it's going to go back up. We are currently sat at 70, which is an important psychological level, and you will notice the previous week price did pull back. And if you look on the weekly, this opened a bit like a trapdoor during the week. So it does suggest it's going to fall. I am not one to take trades here. Again, I would look for a pullback. Weekly pullback takes you back up to 70.88, and a daily would take you to 70.50 area. So look for clues there for pullbacks. Finally, the Aussie dollar yen. I find this very interesting. This is the Aussie dollar yen on a weekly chart. We are sat on a weekly trend line. We are sat on a weekly 34 with a 55 just below it. We've just had a 5/8 cross, which suggests it's going down, and the stochastics are pointing down. But this has been a major area of previous support. This area is now crucial. If we look on the daily, price stopped above the 200 EMA. So either look for bounces back up tomorrow, maybe limited as far as here on the 55 up to 82. If it breaks here, I need it to break below 7900, not just the trend line. The trend line here is 7900. We need it to break below this weekly 55 as well. So what we would look for tomorrow a candle to come down and close below here with a view for a pullback and a short the following day. Right, I hope I didn't confuse you. We are trying to get onto longer time frames. You decide which way you want to play it. If you want to be a day trader, then fib the daily charts. If you wish to trade off weekly, fib the weekly. Have a great week.